Hello, and welcome to the 13th Annual Greyhound Choice Award Ceremony. This award ceremony is sponsored by Northern Renaissance. Renaissance is a program here at Northern whose goal is to recognize as many students and staff members as possible throughout the school year. For students, we have such programs as the Smart Cookie Awards, Renaissance Blue-Gray Levels, and the all-important end-of-year Renaissance Barbecue. And of course, tonight's Greyhound Choice Awards. For staff, we recognize birthdays with our Birthday Brigade. We sponsor a holiday breakfast and an end-of-year barbecue. We also have recently started our Inspirational Teacher Awards. Actually, it's been 5 years now, where we have our seniors recognize their favorite teachers from Northern. We have a lot of tears on those days. The Greyhound Choice Awards honor students for being themselves. We are not here to honor good grades, although many of our students here have great GPAs. We are not here to honor good attendance, although once again, we have students here who have exemplary attendance records. We are not even here to honor great behavior, because looking out at our audience, I know that a few of you have had your share of detentions. We are here to honor you for being you. Each one of our Greyhound Choice recipients have made their mark here at Northern. They have made somebody's year with their smiles, their determination to grow up, their acts of kindness, and their overall zest for life. They remind us of why we come to school every day. I want to take this time to thank some people who have helped make this night a success. Billy Jobs for our programs. We will have programs with all the speeches in them at the end of the night. And of course, Mr. Newman for working with me, because sometimes I can be really annoying. To our teachers and staff who took the time to select a student, write a speech, and be here tonight, it's a testament to your commitment to our students that you are all here tonight. This is a busy time of year for all of us, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here tonight. I want to apologize in advance for any typos. I already know which some of them are. If you notice a problem on your certificate, see me tomorrow, and I'll be happy to get it fixed for you. I can't change the program, but I can change your certificate. So now on with the program. Each staff member is going to come up. The student's name will be called, and when your name is called, please come up. Come up to the stage while your speech is being read. The staff and student will then leave the stage, and we have pictures outside. Right now, Mr. Cataline will be taking them. And then you can come back. We don't have the stage this year. We usually put the students on the stage, but we do not have that this year. At the end of the program, make sure you pick up a booklet. And our first presenter is Mr. Dan Uzaki. And the first row of teachers can stand up behind, like over there, so you're ready to go.
Good evening, everyone. My Greyhound Choice Awards go to Tori Bowen and Emma Browning. Come on up. I wanted to start off tonight's speech by finding a quote from a person that is a lot smarter than me. So I did what any normal person would do. I grabbed a bunch of books on my desk, I moved them to the side, and I went on to Google. I typed in quotes about smiles, and names like Mother Teresa and Leonardo da Vinci decorated the page. But none of those quotes seem to work because there are no words to accurately describe how happy these students actually make me. They are great people. Both of them have infectious smiles. They always brighten my day. When I am feeling most distance from students or beaten down by daily struggles of an AD, they always reel me back in with an overly loud, "Hi, Dr. You," or "We miss you. What have you been up to?" In this fast-paced world, I just want to take a minute tonight to tell you guys that people have forgotten how to do that. So my message to you tonight, girls, is to not lose that quality as you leave Northern Burlington. Remember it now, and as you enter the real world, that people do notice and very much appreciate these things. So thank you again.
Put these on.
And the next presenter is Mr. Kenny Moss.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Andrew Jackson. I've had the pleasure of working with AJ since he was a freshman. Through coaching him in both football and basketball, I've gotten to know AJ quite well. The reason why I chose AJ as my Greyhound choice is not because of his athletic ability. My reason for choosing AJ is because it was a rarity to not hear him laughing and see him smiling. He's a genuinely happy person. He's immensely competitive, and his competitive drive has made it a treat to coach him throughout his high school career. AJ's laugh is contagious, and he has brought a smile to my face for nearly 4 years. I wish AJ a lot of luck AJ a lot of luck next year and in the future. Thank you for making it a great 4 years, AJ. The next presenter is Ms. Shannon Lawyer. AJ.
I like to think of my Greyhound choice as my mini-me. We share a love of dance, music, and sports, and have a competitive nature and a tendency to worry too much. We even have matching bad knees with several injuries between us. Of course, I'm talking about you, Tara Cooper, my Greyhound choice for 2017. I'm so lucky to have snatched Tara up as my choice this year before someone else did. Any one of the musical directors can back me up on this because Tara was one of the most helpful and willing to help students in the musical. I also have the pleasure of having Tara in my health class, so I know that characteristic extends to the classroom. Every day she comes in, she props open my door for me. At musical rehearsals, she was the first one to pop up to help out, especially with the music. No questions asked, even if she does color in the wrong parts on the posters. I'm just kidding. She's really hard on herself. I've seen her at times at her worst, and we've talked through those times. But Tara, that does not define you, because what I see is a dedicated, talented, goofy, and very athletic girl. And I'm not just saying that because you bribed me with brownies, popcorn, cheesecake, cookies. You are one of a kind and very special to me, Tara. I've enjoyed having every minute of having you in class and after class, and often during your study hall and at rehearsals, and will cherish the memories made by beating you in heads up. I won't let you live that down. Congratulations to Tara. The next presenter is Mr. Colin Huco.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Rip. As a teacher and the girls' basketball coach at Northern, I'm pleased to nominate Riley as my Greyhound Choice Award. I've known Riley as a member of my world history class in September, and I had the pleasure to coach her in basketball this past season. During this time, I've come to appreciate her many fine qualities as I've watched her grow as a student, player, and person. Riley has had a very strong year academically in my class. She always admits a sense of hard work and a love of learning. Her willingness to participate in class and her amiable demeanor always helped to brighten my day. Riley's maturity, focus, and good manners are skills that make her a good leader in the classroom. On the court, Riley was one of the most coachable players that played for our team this past year. She constantly worked to improve on her weaknesses, and she was always willing to sacrifice for the team. As a freshman, she earned a JV letter, but was willing to bump down to the freshman team when they needed her. On the court, she was an unselfish player who could manage control of the floor, two valuable traits for a guard, and we expect big things from her in the future. Riley's also a very talented softball player who plays multiple positions for her team. She's not just a fine athlete, but an outstanding individual. She excels in the classroom and is looked upon for her leadership. She understands the value of goal setting and the importance of teamwork. She's shown the ability to bounce back from adversity and is always willing to put in the extra time. She realizes that success can only be obtained through hard work and approaching each task with a positive attitude. The next presenter is Mr. Stan.
Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to announce that my Greyhound Choice Award belongs to Natalie Jones. In a recent Ed Chat hosted by Edutopia, the following question was posted via Twitter. What did you learn from your most challenging students? My answer was to be more patient and authentic in my expression of charity toward others. But challenging students aren't the only ones who teach us important life lessons. Exceptional students do that too. Humility moves me. When I come into contact with people who embody charity, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control, and humility, I am changed through my desire to be a better person. I am influenced, moreover, to love the person in front of me more authentically. Natalie exemplifies all these virtues, and her personal witness is a wonderful influence on the world around her, especially this teacher. My personal hero teaches that the true definition of who we are emanates from within our hearts. In my eyes, Natalie has a heart of gold, one that will and does change the world around her. Being a teacher offers deep personal rewards. One of my favorite writers says that teaching and service to others are synonymous, and I truly believe it. And it is through this gift of service that I have been taught more than I could ever teach by the authentic witness of students like Natalie. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Natalie, for being such an apt teacher and shining example of hope in our world. This award is for you, Natalie, and our next presenter is Mr. Dave Rogers.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Remy Quitten. This young lady comes into my class every day with a big smile on her face and a, "Hi, Mr. Rogers." She brings so much energy to the classroom each and every day, it's infectious to our class. My co-teacher, Tom Vlasenko, and I are always saying how much fun that class is to teach. She's a student athlete who happens to play my favorite sport growing up, soccer. The best part about Remy is that she has told us that history never really used to be a class that she liked, and now she really enjoys coming every day. She could also be just telling me this to get a good grade. I don't know. And if that's the case, well played. Well played. Either way, you have been one of my favorite students to teach this year, and thank you for bringing your positive attitude to my class each and every day. Next presenter is Mr. Joel Dolce.
My Greyhound Choice Award right now goes to Tori Morell. In my time at Northern, I've never had a student that best exemplifies what a teacher looks for in a student more than Tori. That's why Tori is my first Greyhound Choice Award winner in 17 years. Tori comes to Northern every day, excited and proud to be a Greyhound. As the clock ticks closer and closer to the start of first period homeroom, and Dr. Lopez in the main office plays the pump-up music in the PA system, Tori comes barging into class, making a grand entrance like the Chicago Bulls every single day. With a little dance, some high fives, and laughter, she comes barreling in. It doesn't matter how rough of a game or practice was the night before that I had, she comes in with that music blaring over the PA system. And it brings me back to the fact of how much I love my job and the fact that it's a new day with all of the upcoming opportunities. Her excitement is contagious. No matter the day, you can't talk to Tori without smiling and remembering why you became a teacher. She brings an infectious feeling of joy out of everyone she meets. Infectious is probably a good word to use with Tori. I couldn't imagine my first period without her. Tori Morrell. You gotta get back here.
Good evening. My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Dominique Doyle. Dominique is a hardworking student and an outstanding athlete, which makes her the natural selection for this award. Her energy is contagious, and she has motivated other students to participate with more intensity. If you know Dominique, you know she's a calm person, but when it comes to soccer and basketball, she's a fierce competitor all wrapped into one. Her work ethic translates from the classroom to any playing field, which is any educator's dream. She exhibits a love for learning and a desire to be physically fit. Dominique is very respectful of her teachers and her classmates. She encourages other students and always has a positive attitude. In addition, whenever I would have a conversation with Dominique, she would take my advice into consideration and make her situation better. I wish more of my students were that receptive after a dialogue. Dominique is a wonderful young lady and is a pleasure to have in school. Her many talents will allow her to be successful in life. She exemplifies all the qualities that are important for the Greyhound Choice Award recipient. Congratulations, Dominique. You earned it. The next presenter is Miss Kim Ballinger.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Saloni Gadkar. Saloni is the student that helps me through the middle of the day. Her smile brightens the room, her energy is contagious, and her motivation and drive to be the best is a refreshing pleasure. Saloni has passion and desire to learn all she can. She is making her own future. What made Saloni my choice is beyond her success in the classroom. I applaud her genuine care for those around her. Saloni is an example of high-quality character. She is a positive reflection of the Northern community. Thank you, Saloni, for being an inspiration to other students and myself. You are my reminder that good things come to good people. You are my reminder that students do care. Thank you. The next presenter is Mrs. Linda Humes.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to CJ Giordano. I consider myself very blessed that CJ stepped into the high school media center and continues to come every day. He is inquisitive and cordial. He gives a friendly salutation to me every time he arrives and leaves the media center. I really appreciate his assuredness in his beliefs and opinions, but even more, I appreciate his compassionate heart that is able to make room for those who may not always share his beliefs. CJ, you are genuine and you are true to yourself. These are very valuable qualities and ones that make you a great person to know. You express how you are feeling without reservation, which is admirable. You are very loyal to the people you care about, and you make it very easy for others to care about you. Thank you, CJ, for brightening my days. Every day is better when you are a part of it. Next presenter is Mr. Keith DiNucci.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Madison Hightower. In class, I think Madison would probably prefer to go unnoticed as she works quietly on her assignments. I appreciate the initiative Madison takes to ensure the plants and animals are never neglected. During the 2 years Madison has been in high school, it has been rewarding for me to witness Madison's increased interest in the opportunity our agriculture department offers. Her interest in the chickens developed from helping with those we keep on campus. This interest led Madison to participate on our first place FFA poultry team, and she'll compete nationally with her team in Indianapolis in October. Madison also discovered a different breed of chicken she wanted to try, so we sent away for some Seabright eggs. Only 2 of the eggs hatched, but one was a male and the other is a female, so I guess Madison is on her way to taking care of some more chickens. But at least they're the breed she wanted to try. Madison brings many generous attributes to our department, and I'm glad to have this opportunity to thank her and let her know that her help is always appreciated and never goes unnoticed. Thank you, Madison. The next presenter is Mrs. Megan Harrison.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Angela Malinowski and Marissa Malinowski. There's so much that can be said about these two, but what I admire most is their ability to keep smiling and remain positive despite any adversity that they may face or have faced in their lives. When faced with challenges, please remember the words of Randy Posh. The brick walls are there for a reason. The brick walls are not there to keep us out. The brick walls are there to give us a chance to show how badly we want something. Because the brick walls are there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough. They're there to stop the other people. Don't ever give up and let the brick walls frustrate you. You two are not only beautiful both inside and out, but extraordinary young ladies with so much to offer. You're intelligent, caring, funny, hardworking. I have no doubt that you both will achieve the goals you set for yourselves, and I look forward to the future in which I can witness all of your endeavors come true and see all of your hopes and dreams become a reality. Thank you both for making me not only laugh and smile each day, but for reassuring me that I am meant to be what I am, a teacher, especially during a time where many educators are either second-guessing their careers or counting down to retirement. Congratulations on being my nominees for the 2017 Greyhound Choice Award. Miss Jackie Marshall is the next presenter.
Okay. This year I've chosen 2 outstanding military students as my Greyhound Choice recipients, but I don't think one of them is here. Is Xavier Rivera here? No. So, anyhow, my other one, last but not least, is Grace Shane. Both of these students have played vital roles and were instrumental in orchestrating our 5th annual military student appreciation breakfast in April, as well in the past years. Grace was our MC for the program both last year and this year, which is a very important role to play. This year was an even more important year for her as she recruited our keynote speaker for the event, Senior Master Sergeant Shane, better known to her as Dad. Our theme, the Places You'll Go in the Military, based on Dr. Seuss's book, had special meaning to Master Sergeant Shane and his family and was attached with many fond memories. Grace did an outstanding job and was always willing to help me and anybody else within our military peer support group in any way she could. She never hesitated to step up to the plate and become a role model for others. Her beautiful smile and positive attitude are an inspiration not only to others, but to me this year. It gives me great pleasure to nominate Grace as my Greyhound Choice. I am in awe of her resiliency, her flexibility, and positive attitude. Whoops. And I am sure both Xavier, if he was here, and Grace are off to many great places, as our theme expressed. Thank you so much, Grace. Okay. And the next presenter is Miss Joyce Sarda.
Many good things in life come in pairs. Some of my favorites, chips and salsa, Simon and Garfunkel, movies and popcorn, sun and sand, pen and paper, and now Kendra Zaleski and Nicolina Zapoli, my Greyhound Choice nominees. Please pardon the cliche when I say these two are my ray of sunshine on even the grayest, dullest, stormiest of days. They greet me every first period with a smile, you see, and a good morning, Miss Sardo. And they never fail to solidify that wonderful start with have a nice day as they waltz out the door. They both approach every activity and assessment with open arms and great enthusiasm, always seeking to do the best they can while learning as much as they can from the experience. They were giddy with excitement, preparing for and then teaching the class a flawless lesson on the Harlem Renaissance poet Jean Toomer. And when they lingered after class to ask how they did, they were adorable. They knew they had 100 in the bag, but they just were hanging on a thread to hear me say it. Kendra and Nicolina, you are now in contention for my favorite all-time pairing. And your competition's pretty serious. I mean, what absolutely could beat mac and cheese? But I think you may just have done it. Thank you very, very much for making my day every single day, and I think you guys are off to a big start. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Sarda. I'm very clumsy. I wasn't sure you were going to be here tonight. Okay. The next presenter is Dave Simpson.
While I'm the next presenter, I'm actually presenting on behalf of Mr. Doppler here tonight. So I'm Mr. Doppler right now. Just picture me a little taller. Okay. Mr. Doppler's Greyhound Choice Award goes to Amber Brown. We as human beings are fearfully and wonderfully made. This is in Psalms 139, semicolon 14. And I truly believe all human beings are special in their own way. We are all unique, and no two human beings in the world are the same. Even identical twins are vastly different. I am reminded of this each day when I see Amber Brown in our classroom. Amber always smiles, does her work, puts forth her best effort, and is kind-hearted to everyone she encounters. And as my mother always said, she has personality plus. Amber and I share a love of sports, hip-hop music, and socializing with other human beings. Last year in U.S. History 1, Amber's favorite athlete of all time, LeBron James, had led his team to an NBA championship against the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry. My son and I really like Steph Curry, but not as much as Amber likes LeBron. She was saying how the Cavs were going to beat the Warriors, so I had to inform her that the Warriors were going to beat her Cavaliers, despite the talents of Mr. James. She said, let's make a bet, and I agreed. She wanted 4 Gatorades, and I told her if the Warriors won, she had to go to church for 4 weekends in a row. The playoffs ended during the summer when school was not in session, but the Warriors went up 2 games to nothing in grand fashion while school was still in session. I teased her a bit after each Warrior blowout. However, the Cavaliers won the next 2, proceeded to win the championship that summer of 2016. I was thinking about Amber and how she was so sure her team would win despite losing the first 2 games by large margins. She had tremendous faith in her team and her favorite player. I could not help thinking how she would be teasing me like crazy the first day of school because her team beat mine. Later that summer, I found out Amber was going to be in my U.S. History 2 class. It was great news, but I had to face her after being on the wrong side of a bet. When I saw Amber the first day, she didn't mention winning the championship. She just gave me an enormous smile and said thank you. I asked her what flavors of Gatorade she wanted, and she said any kind. The following week, I brought her in 4 large Gatorades. Being the good-natured, kind-hearted young lady she is, she gave them out to her friends, and she kept one for herself. Not one to taunt or smart remark about how she was right. She showed great sportsmanship then, and it's just one more demonstration of how she goes about her business. My favorite Christian rapper, NF, has a song that has a verse with LeBron James. The line goes, just like LeBron, just like LeBron. Boy, hip-hop's dying with me here. NF is using LeBron James as a comparison with him to the music industry. LeBron is the most dominant basketball player in the NBA, and NF is the greatest rap artist today. Amber liked the song and told me that NF is a very good music artist. Amber is fun to be around because she's always positive, kind-hearted to everyone, and honest. Amber, to me, is the LeBron James of our classroom.
Congratulations, Amber.
Our next presenter will be Mr. Jeff Newman.
I'm reading this speech on behalf of Mrs. Sandy Cullen, who could not be here this evening. Mrs. Cullen's Greyhound Choice Award goes to Kevin Hager. Mrs. Cullen and I actually taught Kevin together in the same class, so I know him quite well as well. Her speech says, I have known and taught this young man for the last 2 years in geometry and algebra 2. He has one of the most positive attitudes I have encountered in my 12 years of teaching. I have him first period this year, and while most students simply grunt at me as they enter the class, Kevin always walks in with a big, good morning, Mrs. Cullen. He frequently asked about how my weekend was, and he likes to have an actual conversation with me. I see him several times throughout the day, and whether he's with friends or his girlfriend, he always stops to say hello and ask how my day is going. He is a remarkable young man, and I hope that my son can impact a teacher just like Kevin has done for me. Please help me congratulate Kevin. The next presenter is Mrs. Andrea Mastrena.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Crystal Johnson. It took a lot of uncomfortable lying right to Crystal's face in order to try to keep this a surprise, so I'm relieved that that part's over. So let's go back in time a bit. April 20th, the year 2000, Hamilton, New Jersey. I got my driver's license, my 17th birthday, and I can still remember how great it felt to enjoy the freedom of my first solo cruise around the block. That same day, April 20th, 2000, Crystal Johnson was born, Richmond, Virginia. The third child, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson's second baby girl. 3 years ago, when Crystal and I realized that we share the same birthday, it made a lot of sense because we actually share a lot more than just April 20th. For example, we both love being inside of airports. We love the ways in which they're designed, their shops, and that sensation of the organized comings and goings of thousands of people. We love snacks. We love bagels and donuts and pita chips, top the list, but we crave a good salad all the time too. One quirk that really binds us is that the sheer existence of little kids and elderly people and couples makes us cry. We're so emotional that we find ourselves getting a little misty pretty regularly. Throughout Crystal's freshman and sophomore year, she was my right-hand woman, my assistant in class, always helping to organize groups, schedule presentations, pick topics, and just keep things moving. Anything else we needed, her role was crucial. But this year, Crystal has a new role. She is my class roommate. She's my soup kitchen assembly line partner, my dance instructor, and my friend. But Crystal is so much more than all of this. She's a curious, reflective, and passionate person, always seeking to improve. Crystal is a gifted dancer with a big, big heart. One final commonality between us is an affinity for poetry. So I'll close with a very short poem from one of Crystal's favorite writers, Rupi Kaur. What's the greatest lesson a woman should learn? That since day one, she's already had everything she needs within herself. It's the world that convinced her she did not. Crystal, you're an extraordinary young woman. And despite any insecurities or anxieties you may experience, always remember you have everything you need. And I can't wait to see you change the world. Congratulations. The next presenter is Mrs. Sarah Lakia.
Good evening. My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Jordan Nicolatis and Jalissa Luna. Socrates once said, "The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new." As a teacher at Northern Burlington Regional High School, it has been my pleasure and honor to see the young men and women you see before you grow and change from the timid and shy students they were at the beginning of the year to the hardworking and successful students they are today. This change, however, does not come easy as one might be inclined to think. It takes true determination, hard work, and passion to better yourself and those around you. These traits define each and every one of the incredible students here today. However, they completely embody the work, ethics, and mindset of one particular individual, one who recognized the potential within himself and did not rest until it was attained, one who understood the challenges ahead and elected to tackle them head on, one who saw what should be done and fearlessly achieved it. This year, my first Greyhound Choice Award goes to Jordan Nicolatis. Congratulations on your hard work and personal achievement. Okay. It's rare to find someone who is always willing to put their priorities above themselves and work hard. However, it is this very mentality that separates the hard worker from the ones who aim for the bare minimum. And it is this mentality that defines the second winner of the Greyhound Choice Award. Not only is this student one who is dedicated, passionate, and forward-thinking, she is one who constantly aims to be the absolute best she can be. From her work ethics to her personality in and out of the class, she is one who can recognize the problem and effectively work to produce a solution. She is one that walks in every day with a smile on her face and leaves having her spread that happiness and joy to everyone else in the classroom. And she's the one who made a personal deal with me that if she can keep her grades up for the entire year, I'll have to give her a henna tattoo. My second winner of the Greyhound Choice Award for this year is Jalissa Luna. It looks like you'll be getting a henna tattoo this year too. You're welcome. The next presenter is Mrs. Kate Lasko.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Arif Razak. Even before the bell rings to signal the start of the most important class of the day, English, if you are wondering, Arif is often there already talking passionately with a few of his classmates in some foreign language. Derivative, vector, tangents. Certain words I recognize, but without context, they mystify. Algorithms, intervals. His face animates and his hands gesticulate, and it is clear that this young man is a fan of math and science. But unlike others of his kind, Arif's animation does not fade when English class begins. I so anticipate his energetic, "Good morning, Mrs. Lasko," always complimented by a smile. I so appreciate his commitment to class, always evident in his questions and comments. And I so admire his kind, generous spirit, which is on display every day, whether offering to help without knowing the task, or saving for his sister a piece of chocolate chip banana bread given to him in thanks for helping this teacher. If I could make him into an equation, it would look like this. AP English plus Arif equals happy teacher. I'd like to call up Ms. Courtney Van Arsdale.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Garrett Resigliano Burns. Ever since the first day I met Garrett, I knew there was something special about this kid's personality. I remember getting to know Garrett as a freshman in our last period study hall, and what an experience that was. We really got to know one another, and we formed a very trusting bond, which has held strong over the 2 years since that year. Garrett's got grit and sass, and he keeps me on my toes and tries really hard to keep me with it. And it's an increasingly difficult job, no? But he doesn't relent. Now, don't get me wrong, as great as Garrett is, he thinks he's able to fool me here and again, which he doesn't, but I let him think that he does. But he's ever so helpful, and he has lightened my load consistently over the years, and for that I'm truly thankful. Most of all, Garrett is trustworthy. This is an attribute which I find to be one of the most important yet overlooked, most impressive yet in such short supply. Garrett is wise beyond his years, and he really wants to get out into the real world and grab it by the horns. He's got a good job, a license, and the only thing that's in his way is his last year of high school. And if I could take this quick moment to mom you, I would say enjoy your last year of high school, soak up some more memories with your friends and teachers, and don't wish it away. Slow down and look around. Congratulations. The next presenter is Miss Kathy McKay.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Michaela Roach. Sometimes people surprise you. You're not sure what to expect, so you don't expect. When I first met Michaela, her sophomore year in student council, I saw a young student who sometimes seemed lost. When she ran for office in her junior year, I was not sure what to expect. Then this school year happened. Michaela took charge of everything for homecoming. If I asked her to do something, it was done. During those long weeks before homecoming, I could count on Michaela to be there every day working, sometimes by herself. She traced and drew and painted almost all of the homecoming decorations that were up here in this 500 building. When it came time for the food drive and the adopt a family, all I had to do was ask, and the task was done. If I needed something for student council, it was Michaela I went to. The young, quiet girl I met during sophomore year was taking everything in and learning from the upperclassmen. She has turned into my go-to person, the one that I can count on, but the one that is still quiet. I am extremely proud of her and could not think of a better person to give my Greyhound Choice Award to. Even though I won't be doing student council next year, I look forward to watching her take charge during her senior year as student council president, a job she so well deserves. Congratulations, Michaela. Next presenter is Miss Alyssa Rial.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Jacqueline Serrano. When choosing a student for my Greyhound Choice, I always go for a student that I currently have or have had in the past who manages to make me smile, even if I am having a really rough day. As for Jackie, I do not currently have her in class. In fact, I have never had Jackie in class. She's too smart for me. So why is she my Greyhound Choice? To answer that, let me take you back to softball season of last year. Here she comes, this skinny sophomore walking onto the softball field after having admitted to never playing softball before in her life. As a coach, you are excited to have a student show interest and come out for the team, but as an experienced player yourself, you are nervous for her. There's nothing soft about softball. Can she catch a ball that is being thrown towards her face? Can she swing a bat without hurting herself? Jackie came out with all 4 coaches watching her and not only answered these questions, but answered with confidence. The looks on all of our faces, basically, we were foolish to feel nervous for her. We were impressed. Fast forward to the beginning of this softball season. Jackie now only has 1 season of experience under her belt. In the beginning of the season, I went to Jackie with a proposal knowing that she did not have any experience with what I was about to ask. Jackie, how would you feel about being catcher? Yep, I'll do it, coach. At that moment, I was seriously on the verge of tears because I was so happy and proud of the type of player Jackie was. She was a pure leader through and through. Now, every game she plays that position like she's been playing it for years, and not only impresses Coach Refrano and I every day, but other teams as well. RV. So back to those questions. Can she catch a ball being thrown towards her face? Absolutely. She does it every game. Can she swing a bat without hurting herself? You bet. She's our leadoff batter, an extremely important position in a batting lineup, and she swings the bat with confidence. Jackie, thank you for constantly making us smile and laugh even during the tough games. Our entire team knows that we would not be where we are today without you. Thank you for being the mom of the team and making sure we all have our candies on the bus rides. You are the definition of a leader, and I hope you never lose that quality. You're going to go far in this world, girl. Boy. There's no stopping Jack Attack, Jackie Serrano. Congratulations. The next presenter is Mrs. Christy Del Russo.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Adwa Adumako. A student that has haunted my presence for the last, and I thought 4, but then I remembered I had her 8th grade year for field hockey as well. So 5 amazing years. So a glutton for punishment. Adwa has been in my life, whether it's through student council or as a student in class. Adwa is one of those memorable students that I've ever had the pleasure to teach. In fact, she may provide examples for my future psychology classes. She is a unique person, eccentric, loyal, and mostly unpredictable. She has demonstrated her loyalty time and time again. She has served her class faithfully as class historian and a member of the class of 2017 class council for the last 4 years. When I pass her in the hallways, she is the first to offer a positive comment. Then I offer her a sarcastic remark. She then counters with how evil I am all the time, always making me laugh. And when I think about Adwa, I think about what her imaginary list would be for each day. To-do list: wait for tonight, try to take over the world. She wears her emotions and thoughts on her sleeves. She is caring and compassionate, yet she is a strong individual as well. She is a student who makes me smile every day, even on the worst of days. Always positive despite adversity. She is well liked by her peers. Adwa will sadly be missed next year. She has deeply impacted my life, and I'm glad to have known her. I wish her nothing but success in her future endeavors and hope that she will remain in contact to update us on her maniacal lists. The next presenter is Mr. James Down.
You want to know I'm crazy? You want to know I'm crazy?
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of both myself and my colleague, Mr. Matt Pona. Our Greyhound Choice Awards tonight go to Josh Grabenstein, Jesse Ireland, Kyle Apodaca, Bruce Franz, and Rachel Liebeck. These 5 students have been a vital part of our program, not only this year, but for the past 4 years as well. Their work alone has allowed us to broadcast the majority of our programs, and without them, we would be limited in our ability to churn out the level of work we've become accustomed to. They take time from their own lives to work on video projects, attend live events, and promote our station, and we will surely miss them next year. It's been a pleasure having all of you the past 4 years, and we look forward to watching you guys succeed as you move on to college and beyond.
made it. We made it.
Our next presenter is Mr. Brian Wolverton.
That's not for myself. My Greyhound choice goes to Josh Braganza. There are so many reasons that I selected Josh for this award, but I guess the biggest reason is the way, oh my God, I'm one sentence in. But the biggest reason is the way that Josh makes me feel about coming to school each day. You see, on most days, I see Josh first period of the day, and in my 20 years as a teacher, there's never been a student that I've looked more forward to seeing than Josh. His enthusiasm for school and for life, for that matter, is inspiring. I can't tell you how many times I would be in a bad mood or preoccupied with my troubles and then would run into my best friend in the hallway and instantly be in a good mood. I call Josh my best friend because that's what he calls me from time to time. The first time, it felt very special. Little did I know that apparently Josh has a lot of best friends. All of the above, right? But that's okay. I know how he makes me feel, and that's all that matters. Josh, thank you for being a great student, but more importantly, for being my best friend. All right, you can just go out the back. Here you go. Okay, and I'll see you out there in a second. Sorry, I do have a second award to present, and I have to tell you that I have never felt more guilty about telling a lie than I have for the past 2 weeks. You see, we're supposed to keep these awards a secret, so when this young lady excitedly asked me if the invitation she received about tonight was from me, I, of course, had to lie. Well, the lie ends now. It is with great pleasure, but quite a bit of sadness, that I present my Greyhound choice to Holly Hennessy. Look, slowly. It was September 6th, 2013. I walked into my 5th period algebra class on the first day of school and addressed them as I had a million other classes with my standard greeting, sit down and shut up. Well, for most of the students, this is an icebreaker that quickly puts them at ease, knowing that I'm just kidding. I say most because on this day, there's this one cute little girl sitting dead center in the front row with her notebook, her pencils lined up neatly, eager to learn, and I think I saw a tear in her eye. Needless to say, Holly was not a fan of my sarcasm. I'm not sure if she actually cried that day in class, but I do know that her mother had to deal with more than a few tears during the first month of school. Fast forward 4 years, and you'll see that scrawny, shy little girl in the front row who was afraid of her own shadow has transformed into this intelligent, self-assured, kind, beautiful young lady who anyone has ever interacted with will tell you is the kindest person that they have ever met. To her parents, Liz and Mike, I can't thank you enough for letting me borrow Holly for these past 4 years. I don't know what you did, well, except for Mitch. I don't know what you did in raising Holly. Oh, where are they at? Oh, I don't know what you guys did in raising Holly, but you should bottle it and sell it. She has impacted me like no other student ever has. And Holly, oh my God, as much as you know that I would never apologize for making you cry that first day of school 4 years ago, know that in writing this speech and think about saying goodbye, let's just say we're even. The next presenter is Mrs. Mary Waterson.
Okay, so at least it looks like I'm not the only one who had to lie this week. My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Karina Lopez. I have been very fortunate to have known Karina for the past 3 years. She came into my chemistry class as a slightly insecure sophomore in a room full of big personalities. Of course, she did well in chemistry, but more importantly, I watched her begin to grow and blossom into the confident young woman she is today. When sophomore year was over, Karina told me that she was going to be my Silk during senior year. Silk is like a teaching assistant. I said, sure, I'd love to have you, but I didn't really expect that to happen. After all, she had all of her junior year to change her mind or to find another class for which she'd rather Silk. Throughout junior year, Karina would stop by just to say hello and check in with me. She always reminded me that she would be my Silk, and lo and behold, senior year comes along and there she is. I should have known better than to doubt Karina or her persistence. When she sets her mind to something, she gets it. So over the past year, Karina and I have journeyed together. I look forward to the last period of the day because she brightens the whole room when she comes in. The students love and respect her. She keeps me organized, or tries to. It's a big job. I can't count how many times I have panicked because I've lost something only to have Karina dig it up for me. But more importantly, I've had the opportunity to get to know Karina better and to see what a wonderfully sincere young lady she has become. I will miss you next year, but I know we will be in touch for a long time to come, and I look forward to celebrating your successes. Congratulations. My next Greyhound Choice Award, because I lied more than once, goes to Sarah Desidue. Sarah arrived at Northern to start her junior year, and luckily for me, one of her first classes was my AP Chemistry class. Immediately, I was impressed by her maturity and her work ethic. She was friendly and willing to help anyone who asked. She became one of my favorite students. Don't cry, you'll make me cry. As a senior, Sarah is a Silk from my AP Chem class, and I've had the opportunity to get to know her even better. She is intelligent, strong-minded, and purposeful. We've had many thought-provoking conversations, and I know that I have learned at least as much from her as she has from me, and probably more. I am pleased to know you, Sarah, and I look forward to our continued friendship as you go off to make your mark on the world. Okay, three's a charm. My last Greyhound Choice Award, in case you thought I was just going to stay here, is Nick Sims. I've had a great year. Nick is one of those kids that reminds teachers of why they started teaching in the first place. He is intelligent, inquisitive, respectful, hardworking, and just an overall nice guy. Nick is an insatiable learner, often asking questions, but not during class in the let's distract her by asking questions about her grandson and maybe she'll forget we're supposed to have a quiz way, but on his own time about something that he's read or he's heard. He's genuinely curious, and his questions have challenged me and sent me into my books more than once or twice. Knowing Nick Sims has reassured me about the future. As long as there are people like Nick in the world, we're going to be okay. Thank you, Nick, for being you. The next presenter is Ms. Jamie Mungo.
Good evening. My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Eileen Dixon. In the short time I have been at Northern, I've met many remarkable students, but Eileen stood out to me. After being introduced to Eileen as one of our blue-gray night captains, she has always greeted me with a, "Good morning, Mrs. Mungo," "Hi, Mrs. Mungo," and her great big smile. Everyone says positivity is contagious, and it certainly is true, because if you've ever been around Eileen, her positive energy will brighten your day. Don't let her fool you, as she did dress up as Harley Quinn from the movie Suicide Squad. Harley is a lovable character, just as Eileen, but I don't think she is quite as crazy as the character she was portraying. Besides Eileen's vivacious personality, she is an overall outstanding student who has been on honor roll every marking period in her high school career. Hopefully you can pull that off this marking period too. Eileen, I know you're a good girl. Thank you for your assistance with parking this year, and thank you for making me feel so welcome at Northern every day. The next presenter is Mr. Jeff Newman.
My personal Greyhound Choice Awards go to Rachel Enriquez and Allison Enriquez. I chose these two sisters because they're both wonderful people and diligent students. If it wasn't for the fact that they're a couple years apart, they really could be twins, as you'll see as they come up. Any teacher who's had either of these students is blessed, but I'm actually lucky enough to have them both in the same year. Rachel, although she's only a sophomore, is assertive, inquisitive, generous, and intelligent. She has goals that she works towards every day towards achieving, but she won't tell what those goals are because then she's afraid they won't come true. I told her it's not a birthday wish, but whatever. She's one of the hardest working students I can ever remember having. As far as Allison goes, I've been fortunate enough to have taught her last year in honors pre-calculus and this year as a senior in calculus, as well as her being a member of the National Honor Society for the past 2 years as well. She is quiet but capable. She loves to learn and accomplish tasks beyond the reach of many students. So what if she needs about 20 extra pages of paper every time she takes a test because she can't do the work in the space that I provide her? Allison, I'm going to miss you as you leave us for Rutgers. Rachel, I look forward to having you, hopefully, in a National Honor Society and maybe even teaching you again. And to your parents, I thank you for raising two fantastic daughters. Congratulations. Our next presenter is Mr. Dave Simpson.
It is indeed an honor to recognize one of my favorite students, Taylor Gluckert, with this Greyhound Choice Award. When you first meet Taylor, she may come across as a bit quiet and a tad shy. If you are like me, you might be lulled into a false sense of safety and security. Under her sheep's clothes lays a wolf who is incredibly sharp. In my classroom, she wielded logic like a finely honed razor, fierce and competitive. Her opponents in mock trials and classroom debates felt the sting of her well-thought-out arguments. I was always impressed by her, and she made me proud to be her teacher. However, the area where Taylor most impressed me is her sense of humor. She has a brilliant wit, and she knows just how to use it. Countless times over the past 2 years, she has made me laugh. A perfect illustration of this happened recently with prom season rolling around. With the understanding that most children were unable to say anything positive about their dates for prom, she asked students waiting in line with their dates for prom tickets to name 3 things they most liked about their future prom dates. Awkward silence followed. Taylor kept a straight face through the whole thing, never revealing that it was her intent to make them stammer. Although Taylor does possess an impish streak, she is an incredibly kind young lady. She has spent numerous hours volunteering at a local hospital, holding and caring for newborn children. She gives compliments to her teachers and peers and lets them know that she appreciates them. I feel very fortunate to have taught her. It has been an honor to teach such a fine young person. Our next presenter is Mr. Mick Chorba.
All right. My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Jeremy Gutierrez. Jeremy. There he is. Jeremy is my choice because he's up for a challenge. He pushes himself out of his comfort zone, and he makes me laugh. I have 2 anecdotes. The first involves AP Literature. Jeremy came to me and said he wants to take the class, before the school year. And I told him about the huge amount of reading, basically twice as much or more than an honors course. I asked him if he likes to read, and Jeremy said no. So I said, maybe this isn't the class for you, Jeremy. But Jeremy took the course, and here we are at the end of the year, and he did exceptionally well. He took the AP Literature exam. I wish I could say it was me who inspired him, but I think it was George Orwell. One day after class, Jeremy wanted to discuss the novel 1984, and I realized that he was way ahead of the class in the reading assignments. And I asked him if he liked the book. And if you know Jeremy, you probably have seen this expression maybe. With a devilish grin, he replied, "I think I'm hooked." And that made my day. And that made me laugh, and it captures Jeremy in a nutshell. Similarly, Jeremy showed up to my informal after-school guitar club earlier this year, and he promptly declared that he didn't know how to play the guitar. Well, he does now. And this is in 6 months. It's one thing to participate in activities that you know you're good at. That's normal. But to take on challenges the way Jeremy does is what I call bravery, and that's why I choose Jeremy for this year's Greyhound Choice Award. The next presenter is Mr. Mike Stino.
Hi. My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Haley Johnson. There she is. All right. Haley and I got to know each other this year through both English honors and our common duty with Miss Humes in the library, period 5-6. Two book addicts talking in a library. Too perfect. We talked about what we were reading. Hi. We talked about what we had read. We talked about what we wanted to read next. I'm sure that's riveting to all of you. Through all these conversations, we learned a lot about each other and our somewhat common take on the world around us. Both books teach us about life in general. To know what books someone enjoys allows you to see a piece of how they think in certain situations, a window to their soul. Haley is special in that her book choices say that she is independent, empathetic, kind, thoughtful, and concerned with justice and fairness. As we send Haley into the real world, I'm hopeful there are more like her amongst this generation. Single-handedly, she's made me see the future as an opportunity to make the world a better place. Thank you for inspiring my hope by just being you. Now, in the spirit of the evening, I'm going to break the school rules by giving you a new hat. Thanks. The next presenter is Mr. Michael Hishak.
Let's face it, high school kind of stinks. Early mornings, standardized tests, crowded hallways, soul-crushing physics exams. High school doesn't exactly sound like the time of your life. It's the primary reason I decided to become a high school teacher and work with some of the amazing students you see here before you this evening. In particular, I'm here tonight to recognize Matt Kohler, Jack Teich, and Sophie Tapuzaglu, my Greyhound Choice Award winners for this year. I have known each of these inspiring young people for 3 years, and I've seen them transform before my very eyes. I've had the privilege of teaching them in AP Physics classes and coaching them on the volleyball courts. To Matt, you're the epitome of a leader. You never make excuses and always accept responsibility for things that go awry, even if they aren't necessarily your fault. I hope you had a fun time in AP Physics too this year. I've thoroughly enjoyed challenging you with physics problems in addition to our fierce battles of 10-foot line games and, of course, class. I hope that you keep your positive attitude toward everything you do in life. To Jack, you've stuck with me through 2 years of AP Physics. I've seen both your physics and volleyball skills increase exponentially over the years. I love your fire and seeing you get hype after a big kill or finally getting above a 60 on an exam. You have an amazing amount of potential both inside and outside the classroom, and I hope you continue converting all of that into useful kinetic energy down the road. Always keep swinging. And to Sophie, every time I'm at a volleyball match, I can still hear you saying, "Let's go." You were my Swiss Army knife because I knew I could count on you to serve, set, dig, block, attack, whatever the team needed at the time. I thoroughly enjoyed having you in AP Physics as well, even though you love ceramics and bio more. I hope that you believe in yourself and your abilities and grow confidence in everything you do in life, both on and off the court. I can't thank the three of you enough for all the wonderful memories and experiences I've shared with each of you. I hope you all keep playing volleyball and pursue your wildest dreams in this short life we have. I hope I've helped high school stink just a little bit less. You've all helped me more than you know. Thank you. The next presenter is my volleyball colleague, Mr. Ed Del Russo.
A few days into the 2016-2017 school year, a new student appeared in my room. Upon entering my room, she appeared nervous, unsure of herself, yet she dressed rather flashy with these bright neon pink sneakers. She actually bought them on purpose, believe it or not. I asked her name, and it was Emily Konopka. Having spoken to many NBC legends over the years, such as Mr. Ed Fitzpatrick and Mr. Dave Potts, I have heard this name many times, over and over again. They warned me about her. I also taught her brother several years ago, and, well, now she was in my class, and I can honestly say I was a little bit intimidated by her. Were the stories true? Well, after 9 months of having her in class, I can confidently say yes. Emily is a student that every teacher wants in their classroom. She is dedicated, hardworking, and passionate about learning. She'll stay after class to ask additional questions on the material and stop you in the hallway to talk about something that related to a topic she learned months ago. Anyone who's a teacher wants to have a student like Emily in their classroom. Emily, thank you for making this year special and for, kind of showing me how to teach volleyball. Coach volleyball. See, I'm almost there. Thank you. The next presenter is Mr. Dave Taylor.
Good evening. This past August, I got an email from Dr. Lopez that stated that I have 3 silks, and at first I was kind of perplexed and said, why do I have 3 silks? I've never had 3. Did I do something wrong, or do I need the help? I wasn't sure which one it was. It was the latter of the two, but needless to say, it's been a tough year for the Taylor family. Roller coaster, the highs and lows, and what a year, what a perfect year for me and my family to have extra help in the classroom. I now know the reason why Dr. Lopez has given me 3 silk students. It couldn't have happened at a better time. I want to present my Greyhound Choice Awards to Sean Cooney, Devin Newcomer, and Rebecca Stewart. Please come up. Sean, Devin, and Rebecca are without a doubt they're the most amazing kids, especially this year. Their ability to teach in front of a class, help with everyday things that need to be done as a teacher, and most importantly, their kindness is all that a teacher could ever ask for. It was such a comfort to know while dealing with family matters that my classes were in good hands and all of the classes were able to run without a hitch. My Silk students have also earned the respect of their peers like no other Silk students have before them. Thank you, Sean, Devin, and Rebecca, for being my heart and soul when my spirit has been at its lowest, in my life. I will never forget what you guys have done. Thank you. We would like to invite Ms. Connie Bunce up to the microphone.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Freddie Miller. The word epitome is defined as a person that is a perfect example of a particular quality or type. Manners is defined as a person's outward bearing or way of behaving towards others. Well, Freddie is the epitome of manners. This young man is the epitome of manners and how a young man should carry himself and interact with others. I've had the pleasure of knowing Freddie for several years. Every morning I see Freddie in the hallway. He removes his headphones, and parents, you know that's a big deal. And he stops for a moment with a huge smile on his face and greets me with a "Good morning, Mrs. Bunce. How are you?" He always stops every single time I see him. He is always respectful and gracious to his teachers, peers, and fellow students. I had Freddie in class the last period of the day when most kids want to go to sleep, and he would always ask how our days were, myself and my coworker, with sincere wonder. Without fail, Freddie always said goodbye and told myself and my other teacher to have a great night. Freddie's had a tough few years, losing both his mom and his grandmother within a very short period of time. No child should ever have to lose their mom and then their grandmother. He and his dad are reliant on each other to get through the daily struggles without the loving support they used to have from these two amazing, loving women they relied on. Freddie also had a tough injury this past wrestling season and was unable to finish his season. Despite the hardships, Freddie continues to push through and see the importance of his future. He has a smile on his face daily and adds sunshine to my classroom. Freddie's a trustworthy, reliable, good-humored student and friend who supports others in and out of the classroom. He was a pleasure to have in class, and his positive attitude and belief in himself, even in the face of difficulty, will continue to push him to achieve greatness. Congratulations, Freddie. The next presenter is Ms. Fatima McWilliams.
My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Alina Mitchell. I've known my Greyhound Choice for 3 years now. She was in my Spanish 4 class and my AP Spanish language class. And this year, she is a Silk for my Spanish 2 class. Alina is awesome. She is the most thoughtful, genuine, funny, and happy person you will ever know. It has been my pleasure to see her every day and to have her as my Silk, helping me and sharing with me her experiences as a student. I teach 2 sections of Spanish 2, and Alina comes to both of them. Because she happens to have a study hall during my 2nd section. All the students love her, and her presence in my classroom has inspired me to do better. I have grown to be a better teacher and a better person because of her. I am very proud of her, and I'm going to miss her very much next year when she leaves us to attend Southern Youth and University. The next presenter is Joe Coleman, Mr. Joe Coleman.
I'm very happy to present my Greyhound Choice Award to Urvi Patel. I was very confused at the start of this school year when I saw Urvi in my first period, AP US History 1 class, and then a couple periods later in my AP US History 2 class. I thought there must have been some mistake, but Urvi explained that no, she was graduating this year and needed both classes. I never had a student do that before. I explained how much work this was going to be. I showed her this book. Here, Urvi. Hold that out. That's a big book. We take 2 years to read and take detailed notes on that book, typically. And I said to Urvi, to do well, you're going to have to do this all in 1 year. I then heard a line that I heard many times this year. Urvi said, "No problem." She was right. She had an amazing year, completing every task I put in front of her in both classes. Urvi sometimes struggled on a test. She would bounce right back and get an A on the next one, sometimes in the same day, because I wasn't very good about scheduling around her unique schedule. Throughout the years, she was a role model to her peers as she demonstrated an amazing work ethic, along with resilience and consistently positive attitude. These qualities assure me that she'll accomplish great things as she moves on after graduation. For that, and for putting up with me 2 times a day, I want to thank Irvi and present her with this award. The next presenter is Ms. Jill Stabile.
Good evening. My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Veronica Salib. I first met Veronica when she was in my Honors Algebra 2 class during her freshman year. She stood out from the rest of the class not because she was talkative or a class clown, but because right from the start she seemed more mature and more focused than most of the other students. She reminded me a lot of myself in high school, so I quickly developed a soft spot for her. I never really knew if she realized that or if she even liked the class. Veronica was always quiet in class, but every once in a while she would shoot me a look telling me that we were thinking the same thing about whatever was going on in the room at the time. Last year, I was pleasantly surprised when she asked if she could silk for me this year. And when the year began, I was eager to find out to which class she'd been assigned. I was concerned to find out that she would be in a class that was mostly seniors. I'd seen in the past that silking for seniors can be a bit awkward. So I offered her an out. I was very happy that she decided to stick with it. The class that Veronica helps out in can be a handful. Don't get me wrong, I like the class a lot, but they can be a handful. Veronica is my calm in the storm. Anytime I want to roll my eyes, I look in her direction and she gets me back on track. She probably won't believe me when I say this, but she's actually been a really big help for me this year. Veronica's become a welcome part of my routine. I'm going to miss her next year, but she's off to the University of Maryland and then to med school. Just a quick side note, Veronica, the future doctor, told me just last week that she doesn't really like doctors. Somehow, I think that's going to make her a better one. Veronica promised me that you will let me know your email address next year. I'll come and check on you when I'm visiting my daughter. And my last words of wisdom for you are as follows. UMD takes their parking rules very seriously. Their tickets are $75 and you can't talk your way out of them. We've tried and tried and tried. The next presenter is our wonderful principal, Dr. Sally Lopez.
My first Greyhound Choice Award goes to Jake Simone. I know you knew it. I know, I don't lie well. Jake, I first got to know you just this year. As I recall, my first interaction with you was a discussion over your hat. I would remind you repeatedly that no hats were permitted, and we would engage in some brief conversation as you politely removed your hat. I remember thinking, wow, he's such a nice kid. Then I noticed that you were attending our evening Relay for Life meetings. You didn't just come and sit there quietly. You participated actively and shared ideas with us. The more time that I spent with you, the more I appreciated what a genuinely nice young man you are. During one evening meeting, I asked students to attend a full-day Relay for Life conference with me on a Saturday in February at Rider University. You signed up. And more importantly, you actually showed up that Saturday morning to get on the bus with me. It was that day that I learned what a great disposition and sense of humor you have. After chatting with you about bingo in the chapel, I couldn't stop laughing. It was actually embarrassing. I so appreciate that you stop by my office now and then and leave bingo Post-it notes for me. When it came time for me to select my Greyhound choice, Mrs. Grimes, my secretary, knew immediately that I was going to select you. Jake, I wanted to give you this award because you make me laugh, and you're such a great person, and I'm honored to know you.
I tried to lie.
You're horrible. Yeah, I know.
You look good.
Good. All right, now here, you take this and wait there because I have one more. Okay, my next Greyhound Choice Award is for Megan Walsh. Megan, as I observed Chinese classes throughout the years, I recognized you as a familiar face and could tell that you were a good student. You're always very attentive and participate frequently in class. Last year was very difficult for all of us as we dealt with the loss of Mrs. Yang. It was so important for me to make sure that you were all okay and to also ensure that you were receiving the instruction that you deserved. I knew that I could rely on you to share with me how things were really going in class and for the students. You're a dedicated Chinese student, and although you remain loyal to Mrs. Yang, you accepted the circumstances with maturity, and I appreciate that. As we have come to discuss other issues this year, I appreciate your honesty and your willingness to speak with me. I respect you immensely. I am confident that Mrs. Yang would also want you to have this award, so please consider it coming from both of us. The next presenter is Miss Amanda Whitehead.
Hello. Okay, so I was Grady this year, and I chose two incredible young women to present this award to, Miss Tegan Trainer and Miss Danielle Zool. Tegan is truly one of a kind. She and I did not start off on a positive note. I believe she was unnecessarily feisty, and she thought I was trying too hard to prove myself here at Northern. While both of these things may be true, a relationship that was once a challenge quickly changed. I soon grew to appreciate the ferocious spirit, I'm nervous, Tegan possesses, and she, I think, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong, grew to appreciate my unwillingness to accept anything less than her best. I look forward to seeing the many successes you will reach in your future. Miss Trainer, you are truly capable of anything. Your ability to be so comfortable in your own skin, your tremendous personality, and that ferocious nature fills me with the confidence that no one else will have a negative influence in your future. It has been a pleasure to be your teacher and your friend. Like my first nominee, Danielle is also capable of anything. She too possesses a quality typical of women beyond her years, one of self-assurance. I was immediately impressed with Danielle's hardworking yet habitually positive demeanor. Ms. Zool's kindness, warmth, and appreciative disposition makes this sometimes thankless job worth it. Danielle, I am certain you will find immense success in your future. I've seen true academic growth in you this year, and I am overwhelmingly proud of you. I am certain your hardworking and kind spirit will afford you a tremendous amount of opportunities in this world. I hope you seize each opportunity with grace and perseverance. It too has been a pleasure to be both your teacher and your friend.
Hi, I'm the last one. I'm Mrs. Heather Duff. My Greyhound Choice Award goes to Diamond Baker and Sabrina Allshafer. Guess they had it figured out at this point. I do not know how I would have survived without these two girls this year. They have graciously and selflessly given up their lunch periods 2 days a week to come help me with the preschool students while they both eat their lunches. From helping kids with washing their hands, to putting straws in juice boxes, to opening bags of chips or fruit snacks, to a few not so pleasant trips to the bathroom, they always take the initiative to help with anything that is needed without hesitation. The amount of patience and composure they have in any situation they are faced with is remarkable. I'm very appreciative and thankful for all they have done. I could not have done it without them. have Mrs. McKay for some final words. So I can't tell you how much fun it is not telling the kids all week. Like they come, Miss McKay, who chose me? I know, and the teacher who chose you now. And it's just Jake. Guess what? It was Dr. Lopez. Hi. He's giving me an evil eye. Okay, so I want to thank you all for coming tonight. It's been an incredible night. Lots and lots of tears, which is always so much fun. But your kids make it worth us coming to work every day, so thank you so much. Parting gifts. We have our booklets in the back by Mr. Newman there. Please take one. Every speech is in here for you guys to read and reread again. And also from the Teachers Association, we have these wonderful bags, so everybody can take a bag also if you're interested. Thank you again, and drive safe. Have a good night.